Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Marcia Daszko on the line, and she's founder of Marcia Daszko Associates. Marcia, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
All right, Marcia, so we got a lot to talk about today. So we're going to be talking about pivoting leadership from management fads and best practices for exponential growth. But before we get into our leadership discussion, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So, Marcia, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's what we do. Marcia, what mission matters to you?
My aim is to provoke people's thinking so that they think differently and act differently and behave differently to achieve their aim.
Great to bring on mission-based individuals to share what they do, how they're doing it, and really what we can all learn so that we grow together. So great having you on. And I guess just to get us kicked off here, tell us a little bit more about how you got started. Like, where did this concept and thought process of helping other leaders and business owners succeed and even teaching leadership, like where did all that begin for you?
So my first career was corporate communications and marketing, and I was very good at being extremely shy, but I did all that marketing, behind the scenes and through writing and so forth. I was never a person out front, nor did I want to be. And then I started working for a small boutique consulting firm owned by Dr. Perry Gluckman, and he was a PhD Stanford trained statistician, and he hired me to do marketing. A month later, he said, I want you to do business development. And I said, what am I selling? And he sent me off to Dr. W. Edwards Deming's 4-day seminar. Long story short, I ended up meeting Dr. Deming. He was friends with Perry. And when he found that out, he said, oh, well, then I will teach you. Come as often as you can to the 4-day seminar. And I went to 20 of his 4-day seminars, ended up creating the Bay Area Deming User Group, was a co-founder, board member of the Into and Thinking Network. And so from there, they taught me how to consult and coach and facilitate and so forth. And when they both passed away the same year, then I thought, well, now what am I going to do? Well, I'd gotten clients like Dow Chemical and Pepsi and so forth, HP. And so I just continued with them. So that's how my business emerged and evolved, just helping our clients, just like I had been doing in the previous years with them as I was learning.
Let's get a little bit further into the leadership discussion. What are leaders thinking, or even just in general, what do you think are some of the top things that limit leaders in their pursuit of success? What are some limiting factors?
Well, it's a tough question right now because they are thinking about, too many are thinking about management fads, best practices, trends, buzzwords, grabbing the latest, hottest, I mean, it was years ago, Six Sigma, was a tool that everybody grabbed onto, and some of the teamwork was creating really silos instead of integrated, collaborative, creative, teamwork. And so leaders they're not educated. Many of them, they are pushed up into titles into an organization, but too many of them lack two things that I always look for. I only work with organizations that have the leadership is committed to two things. One is openness to learning and the courage to apply it. If they don't have those two traits, I'm not going to waste my time, because if they're not going to learn and have the courage to apply, then we're not going to get very far. It's just going to push back constantly. And so what I do is go into an organization, take a look at it, put together a summary report so that we're on the same page. And I start from wherever they are and then put them into I'll grab an expanded leadership team, go into a learning session that is hands-on for their organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not telling them anything. I'm not PowerPointing them to bits. Instead, I'm putting them into exercises, the same that I do in my MBA classes. Put them into exercises and then have them experience it and then ask, what did you learn? What else, until they pull all the concepts out. And then my next question is, and how would you apply it in your job, in your workplace, at your organization?
Mm-hmm.
And then they can connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if it's just a bunch of words, if it's all intellectual, they'll walk out of the room, they'll be floundering. Yeah. They won't be able to apply it because they don't have the mindset and the new knowledge to challenge the old fads and ways they've been doing business.
Yeah. Taking it a step further here. So what are leaders doing that creates waste? Because I feel like, nobody wants to, everybody's trying, right? Even if they are chasing a new fad or if they're chasing a new management style, they're not doing this to waste time. They're not doing this because they're doing it because they want to achieve, a result or an expected outcome. So I'm curious in your end, in terms of giving people some insight into what you see, what are leaders doing to create waste? Maybe too much complexity, even fear, I guess, which ultimately these, ingredients can lead to a decline in the organization, which they're not intending.
Exactly. What they have done is they filled their organizations with the management fads, the buzzwords, the trends, the, hot new thing. So the organization is full of that. And honestly, I have not gone into any organization in my 20 plus years of consulting that doesn't have at least 50 to 80% of waste and complexity and fear. So when you identify that and then you begin get everybody together, working together, learning and working together to remove the complexity, the waste and the fear, then it's very rapidly that they experience collaborative teams, improved processes, innovation, better quality, better communication with each other and with customers. And you get them focused on serving. So they go from all of these negative things to then they work on the processes, the systems, the culture, and the results are phenomenal. They can scale, they can innovate like never before, they can improve. So I always say it's a three-legged stool that they need to focus on. Quality of everything, continual improvement, and innovation. And they don't succeed without those three. But if leaders focus on those three things instead of the management fads, they will be able to reduce the fear, reduce the waste, reduce the complexity. So for example, so many organizations spend thousands of hours of wasted time looking at numbers, arbitrary numerical goals. They are stuck in performance management, performance appraisals, where they're trying to judge, criticize, blame individuals for the results of a system. They need to focus on changing the system, and that leaders, the executives, are accountable for the systems. You can't hold individuals accountable, which is a very, very different mindset. Because the difference is, and I learned this from Dr. Myron Tribus, the system is designed and created by the leaders. They are accountable for the systems. The people work in the systems. And I share examples of this in my book, Pivot, Disrupt, Transform, because whether it's a school district, a corporation, a hospital, we have to watch out that we're not blaming the people for not getting the results that we want. we need to not blame people. We need to focus on changing the system, and it's executives that are responsible for that. The people in the organization, the teams, they are responsible for contributing. That means that the leaders don't try to motivate people, because most likely they demotivate them. Instead, they create an environment for people to be self-motivated, because that's where the power is, and where people can contribute, collaborate, support each other, really dig in and not do problem solving, but problem dissolving. We stuck. That's another mindset that we get stuck in so many companies, startup companies too. It's like, oh, what pain are we trying to solve here? What's the pain point? Focus on the pain point. I'm sorry, but that's the wrong focus, because if you focus on one thing and you start your company based on that, well, once you solve that pain point, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
You want to create the systems that are going to allow you to dissolve pain, but then keep improving and innovating.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good transition. I do want to talk a bit about your book as well. So let's get a little bit further into it. So Pivot, Transform, Disrupt, or let me make sure I've said that right. Can you say again the title for me one more time? I think I said
Pivot, Disrupt, Transform.
I got them backwards. I knew it.
I had trouble with it too. The first few months, I was like, oh, I hate buzzwords. And the publisher,
I think I had a flip. So talk a little bit more about the book and really what inspired it.
I had so many questions from clients, potential clients, my students. And I thought, instead of telling them, here, I want you to read these 20 books, they would push back and go, Marcia, that's too many. I'm like, come on, give me a break, especially my MBA students, because I said, when I was learning, like you learn about engineering, you learn about biology, whatever, you also have to commit. When you have a title, you have to commit to learning leadership. There is a philosophy of leadership, a philosophy of management that Dr. Deming, taught. And you have to commit to continual learning. I was reading when I met Dr. Blackman and Dr. Deming, I was reading 5 to 10 books a week. And I was traveling, so that meant I was carrying them in my briefcase. And that was a time when the briefcases didn't have rollers, wheels. So I was carrying these things around all week. And anyway, so the book came out of, I wanted one place where I could give my clients and my students information, foundational information. And so the book is divided up into 3 sections. Section 1 is what to stop doing. And in the beginning of the book, there's a leadership self-assessment, 2 pages long, very simple. Just take the assessment and see, where are you now? What is your thinking right now? It doesn't mean right or wrong. That's just where you are. And now here is your opportunity to learn differently. So section 1, things to stop doing, the management fads, best practices that people haven't even questioned.
Yeah.
And then how to start thinking differently. So the concepts that will help you think differently. And then part 3 is about how to transform. How do you put these concepts and ideas and different tools into action so that you can achieve better decision making, faster, accelerate achieving your aim, and make that, whatever their mission is, make it matter for them. So internally, you create a healthy environment that works together to serve your customers, clients, students, whatever it is.
Yeah. If there was obviously it's a full book and there's a doctrine behind it and assessment and a lot of other things. But if there were, one or two things that you hope every reader walks away from this book with, what would it be?
One thing is, because I'm having more and more conversations about this lately, is that a lot of people are doing their strategic planning. And I was stuck in a strategic planning committee for a university a few years ago. And they were doing the traditional mindset, and it was driving me crazy. And it inspired me. My book was just about ready to go to press.
Mm-hmm.
Inspired me. I came home, I sat down, I whipped out 3 or 4 pages about the difference between traditional strategic planning and innovative strategic thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a shift. And if any team, any organization, board of directors, whatever, is needing to look at their strategic planning, thinking, going forward for, the next year, months, whatever it is, then it's important. I think those few pages would be very powerful. So that's one thing. I've got a glossary in the back. So, a couple pages about what the words mean. And then I think a foundational thing is that Dr. Deming taught too was we want to create joy in learning, working, improving, and innovating together. That's a foundation. If we're not finding joy, we need to do that to have healthy lives, families, organizations, society, industries. So I think those are pretty powerful.
That's awesome. And what I like about it is it gives hope too. So in your work, and you've been doing this a long time and you've helped a lot of organizations, is maybe sometimes some people think that that's a trade-off, right? Like you can't have both, but what you're arguing is you can have joy in it, right?
Absolutely. And I worked with a school district a few years back, and they came together and they were doing their strategic planning, and they were just, oh gosh, going over and over their mission statement that was about 100 words long and full of gobbledygook. And it was so frustrating it was painful to watch them do this. And finally, I think I got frustrated with them. And I said, why did you go into education? Like, I just wanted to cut through all the garbage, right? Why did you do this? And we came out of it with one clear statement to create joy in learning. Got rid of the 100 words, got rid of the mixed up, complex mindset that they could never articulate. Just be short, crisp, clear. That's what leaders need. They need clarity. They need direction. They need to understand what, their vision is going forward without going into the old traditional, vision, mission, objectives, numbers, mindset. So when they got clear about that, what happened was, whether it was the superintendent, the principal, the school nurse, the janitor, or the first grader, you could ask any of them, what's the aim at this school in this district? And they could all say, to create joy in learning. The janitor could say, it is my job to create a safe, clean working environment for my children, for the children in this school. So see how easy it should be easy for the people to attach what they're doing to the aim. And if they can't, that's back on leadership. We really need leadership to learn, to succeed, because otherwise they are going to, and their organization is going to struggle, decline, and fail. And so we need to really work on reducing the fear, building the trust, building communication channels all over. And I knew one executive client, he must have said the aim of his organization out wherever he was, whether he was talking to investors or customers or a team in his company, didn't matter where, he was always repeating the aim so that people could figure out and ask questions about how can they contribute to it? How can they make a difference?
Yeah. Well, Marcia, I have to say, this has been great having you on the show today and learning more about obviously what you do, but also your book. And I'm a big fan of promoting and bringing out authors so they can share their work, because I know creating a book is not easy. That being said, though, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for Marcia Daszko and Associates? What's next?
Well, something has emerged strongly in the past few weeks, and that is, I've been having conversations, attending meetings from New York across the nation, and people are talking about, and these are executives, these are members of boards of directors from public companies to nonprofits, all across, the way. And the executives and the board members are beginning to say, wow, are we talking about the topics, the issues that we need to be talking about? And they are not. Most are not. Maybe 10 or 20% are having some of the conversations. So what I did is I dug in and I've identified at least 20 imperative topics that they need to be talking about. And of course, some more than others, and it's different for every organization. But then I created an assessment tool to take a board or an executive team through it and identify where are you at in your discussion with these topics, because many boards and executive teams are stuck in talking about business as usual. They're not even identifying or talking about AI, cybersecurity, supply chain disruption, climate change mitigation, geopolitics, culture and workforce ethics, labor shortages. These are severe and they can happen like that. A Fortune 50 company recently posted that AI had wiped out a $50 million project.
Oof.
How long can that happen?
Yeah.
But the problem is they're not talking about what they need to be talking about. So I've created the assessment tool, an agenda, the facilitated discussion to take them through it, to identify their action plan. Who is going to do what? Where's the sense of urgency? They have to be doing this because it could be, next week that some major, it doesn't matter whether they're small or a Fortune 100 company, can get hit with, cyber attack, or AI just, leapfrogs them and they're out of business, or their customers are impacted. This is what they need to be talking about. And I'm excited to guide more and more leaders through this conversation.
Well, Marcia, again, this has been great. How do people follow up with your team over at Marcia Daszko and Associates? Grab a copy of your book and continue the conversation. How do people connect?
So it's easiest to go to my website, mdashko.com, or to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm on there several times a day. So if they message me, they can, even text me. That's easy. All my contact information is on my website. If you Google my name, a lot of things will pop up. I think over 10,000, I'm told. So I'm on YouTube with the podcasts. I write an article every week, a column for Biz Women magazine, so they can subscribe for free. It's a Q&A column, so ask me any leadership questions. I'll answer them there. So I think pretty easy to find.
Amazing. And did you say you have a podcast? What's the name of it?
No, I don't have one. I've been a guest on
I understand. I was just double checking that I didn't leave that out. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm checking my notes over here. Okay, well, we're going to have a
No, no,
video podcast. Don't worry about that. Well,
no.
and for,
I
for
love the conversations. I love the questions.
yep,
The thought of, doing all that organizing, I'll
that's
leave it
awesome.
to you.
All good. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put the links in the show notes so that you can head right on over and check out Marcia and her team. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Marcia, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks so much, Adam. It was great to be here.